Hey guys, it's Mark again from Christ-Centered Fitness. As most of you probably know by now, I'm a big fan of tracking nutrition, specifically using some kind of a digital app like MyFitnessPal or something similar. And that's in part so that you can get a feel for what it is that you're actually consuming. It helps improve mindfulness, even if you don't have a specific target. It just helps bring your nutrition and thoughts about what you're eating to the forefront of your mind a few times a day to just sort of allow you to think through and process what it is that you're consuming. And secondly, because if we're aiming for a specific goal, if, for example, if we're trying to lose weight to be better stewards of our bodies, then it gives us some targets, or we can use some targets to aim for in order to help us achieve that goal. Now, a few people have asked me, okay, so I've been tracking for a couple weeks. That's the first step. I almost always tell people before they have targets, I just want them to track what they're eating for a couple weeks. So that's step one. They say, after I've been tracking, what is the next step? How would you go about choosing a calorie amount or a calorie range in order to better, help somebody to lose weight? So I'm going to take you inside of a spreadsheet that I've created quickly just to give you a picture of how I would go about doing that. All right, we are back inside of a spreadsheet that I've created to help show you how I might go about setting somebody's nutritional ranges for a day. So specifically in this case, we're talking about how many calories that person might consume. Now in this example, you'll see in the weight column that our hypothetical person is 150 pounds. And a good range of calories for weight loss on average would be about 10 to 12 times your body weight. So if you're 150 pounds, then the average number of calories per day you might want to consume is about, somewhere between, 1,500 and maybe whatever, 1,700 or whatever it comes out to be, right? In this particular case, I've just selected, 10 times body weight. As you can see, it's doing the calculation for me here. And that puts us at 1,500 calories every day of the week. And what I like to do with clients, as opposed to having them shoot for a specific number, is give them a range. So the 1,500 would be the top end of the range. And I would say each day I want you to be between 1,400 and 1,500 calories per day. So on average, the person would be consuming, somewhere close to 1,500 a day. And that's kind of what we'd be looking for in order for that person to be able to make progress with their weight loss. Now, I've talked before about clients maybe having a desire to have more food on the weekend and be willing to sacrifice in terms of having smaller meals during the week. So the next page I'm going to show you is just a representative example of that. So in this instance, we've got the same 150-pound hypothetical person. On Monday, we have them consuming 1,200 calories, Tuesday, 1,200, Wednesday, 1,200, Thursday, 1,200. But as it comes to Friday, this leaves a little bit of room nutritionally so they can have more food in the evening. And again, on Saturday and coming back over here, obviously on the Sunday. So it gives them 700 more calories. So they'd be, during the week, they'd be, between 1,150, 1,200, which most people would think of as being maybe a little bit low. But when you look at the week as an average, we're still consuming an average of 1,500 calories. And ultimately, they get to have more food on the weekends to be able to have more flexibility out with friends and family. And it still results in a 10 times body weight average of calorie intake. So it should help them, stay within those ranges more reasonably. Now, on the final page, I just want to discuss something here. Again, we've got the same potential client here, the hypothetical client, and they have 150 they're 150 pounds. We've got the 1,500 calories every day and an average of 1,500 a week. And I've actually added a column on the right here, the total weekly calories. So a few people obviously have approached me and they said, you know what, today I went over by a couple hundred. So what I'm going to do, so they'll say, it's not a big deal. I went over to 700. So now you'll notice it adds it on my column over here. So what they'll do is they'll say, well, the next day I'm just going to cut down by 200, and it brings it back up to the same. So then people start to get in their mindset that, hey, I can pretty much get away with whatever I want, provided that I somewhere compensate for this kind of thing. And you can see that the total weekly calories stay the same despite having these days of really high and really low. Of course, the issue here is that if someone has a 1,000-calorie day, they're going to be pretty hungry, and that maybe sets them up for kind of a rebound on the next day and so on. In terms of hunger, they may go over. And what I found is that this is a slippery slope. I'm all in favor of what we were doing previously with the sort of proactive higher calories on the weekend. So you say, you know what? I know that I prefer to have more food on the weekends, so let's set my plan up like that. Or if you have an event coming up in the next 2 weeks, proactively, you can go ahead and start planning to allow one day to have a higher intake and another day to have a lower intake. But what I'm not a fan of is this reactive method of, oh, I went over, oh, I went under, oh, I went over, and you're constantly playing this game of cat and mouse. And unless you've got this kind of weekly calorie total running in your head, you're constantly doing math to make sure you're hitting the same number. So that's the summary I have for you guys today. Again, generally speaking, I like for people to track their nutrition without changing their nutrition, their regular current nutrition, for a couple of weeks, just to get the habit of tracking down, because for some people that can feel overwhelming at first, and I don't want people to freak out and feel like it's weighing them down. I just want it to be something that they're learning from after a period of a couple of weeks. Generally speaking, I'm a big fan of taking it slow and just, maybe if you're trying to lose weight, move calories down, a couple hundred from where you're at, go wait another couple weeks, move it down again until the scale starts to move and you start to feel as though you're making progress. But most people don't want to wait for that. So the practical strategy is to pull up some kind of piece of paper, just map out your calories for the week and aim for those totals. And in that case, it would be somewhere between 10 and 12 times your body weight in pounds per week, per day. And that would give you your daily calorie intake, and then you can adjust it up or down from there, assuming your weekly average stays the same. So hopefully that gives you some direction. If I've missed something or you need some clarity, throw down a comment below and I'll be happy to answer it. Thanks, guys.